One down, one more to go. And now we're going to be covering Sanguine Desire for Rodion, which is the second and last E.G.O to come out of this Walpurgis night. Sanguine Desire is a WAW level E.G.O, which is kind of bizarre because in the bottom corporation, red shoes were only he level, but I guess Rodion uses it even more than the abnormality does. Interesting. But the roll is a 21 with slash damage, and it got plus 12 coin with attack with a 1. Coin power plus 1 for every 2 bleed on target to a maximum of 13. That's some teleport Heathcliff levels of highs. That can bring you up to a whopping 46. That is great. And it's a very easy conditional to meet. But combat start. The main target for the skill does not lose bleed count this turn. Interesting. After attack, for the next 3 turns, lose 10 SP at the turn end. So kind of like how the binds were doing. On hit, inflict lust damage equal to bleed potency on target multiplied by 1.5. Interesting. Well, I was right. This E.G.O definitely loves bleed. But let's keep reading. At 4 plus lust resonant, inflict lust affinity damage equal to bleed potency times 1.8. At 4 plus absolute lust resonance, inflict lust damage equal to bleed multiplied by target potency to 2. Huh. So this is like interesting because it does more damage, more lust damage for the amount of bleed that the target has. Potency even. It's not count, it's potency. That is very, 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 very good. Now, potency 99 will be used to calculate for a skill. Okay. But on kill, skill of its coin effect dealt damage exceeds the target's max HP. Then the damage is dealt to either other enemies or other parts of the abnormality, which is very good. Very, very good. Now, let's see if she has nearly as good of a passive as a Wingbeat Ishmael, and yes, she does. Passive is called Obsession. This unit's leftmost skill in the dashboard inflicts double the bleed potency once per turn. So, if we get a really good bleeding Rodion, then we are going to be cooking with this skill. And Rodion's cooking because this E.G.O only costs her 15 sanity. Yeah, I know she's going to be losing some sanity for like the next 3 turns. That's going to turn to a total of like 45. Yeah. Wait, 45 sanity in total? That is a lot. That is a lot. But still, at least it's relatively, well, it's kind of cheap on the resources. No, it isn't. It's 1 wrath, 3 lust, 1 pride, or 3 pride and 3 envy. So all in all, costing 10, which is the average for VOVs. And your resistances, like most VOVs, become endured to wrath, ineffective to lust, fatal to sloth, fatal to gloom, and ineffective to envy. So pretty good passives and pretty good sanity cost. Now, upon corrosion, you're going to have a little bit worse roll with a 30 with a negative 11 roll. You're going to be doing slash damage and have attack weight of 5. So it's the case where you're going to be trading off some damage for theoretical damage, which usually I'm not the biggest fan of. So, but you also, before attack, gain number of highest resonance, subtract 2 attack weight, maximum of 2, which will make this a, what a shocker, 7 attack weight E.G.O for a VOV. Did that surprise you? Because it hasn't surprised me, because most of our VOVs have around that attack weight. But on hit, inflict 4 plus lust resonance bleed. Now, maximum lust resonance taken into account 6. So maximum like 10 bleed. That's like kind of mediocre for a VOV. I was expecting a little more. But you also inflict 3 bleed count, so I guess that makes up for it. But still, honestly, this corrosion is a little bit of a letdown compared to what we had in the Awakening. Not only does the Awakening have a better roll, better inflictions, better everything, but it even has a better look. At least in my opinion. I like the Awakening way better than like the corrosion, and that definitely goes to show in the rating category because the corrosion actually holds it back a little bit, right? But not too much because this Awakening is such a strong Awakening for looks. Like, it's amazing. So that's going to be probably like a 7. Just because I don't really like the corrosion very much. But the Awakening, ooh boy, the Awakening is amazing. The Awakening of this E.G.O carries it in the looks category, but it also carries over to the strength category. Because for the strength category, you're doing a phenomenal roll, but you're only hitting one enemy, right? That's the only way that could really be better. Because good roll, good damage, and you're even doing extra damage based on bleed. And you're also keeping bleed there, so you'll be able to do more damage and build it up even more, which I think is phenomenal. So I'll have to give it a 10. Yeah, I think a 10 is pretty good. But for the usefulness of this E.G.O, it is very useful. But its main gimmick is doing damage, and its corrosion does not inflict nearly enough bleed to be that useful. So I'll have to give it a 6.9. Bordering on 7, but 6.9 because the really only thing you can use it for is a little bit extra bleed with the skills, a little bit of bleed, but the most useful thing on this E.G.O is the fact that you can stagnate bleed. You can make a blood clot, I suppose. It's what I would call the effect. You stop them from bleeding that turn. You keep the count the same, and that's great, especially if you're spamming out this E.G.O, which is a little hard to do because you're going to be losing a lot of sanity, but you're also going to be saving a lot of resources. But if you do it, then they're going to be bleeding for indefinitely. So that is very useful. But yeah, I was also right about this E.G.O, at least partially. I knew it was going to either be Lust or Wrath. Wrath being red like the red shoes, or Lust being, well, the infatuation people have with the red shoes. But I was right about the bleed and the skin color. I didn't take a guess on nothing else, but I was right at least. So that's good to be good. And I hope you have a good day, or night, or evening, or dusk, or dawn, whatever. Same difference. I just hope you have a good one. Peace.